Hello and welcome to Riverside Crafts today. I'm going to be looking at making this card today, so I hope you like it. This is the paperback that I'm using, which is Enchanted. It's a mini paperback by a company called Celebr8. They come in these lovely wallets, and when you get this particular paperback, you get a chipboard. This isn't the actual one because I've already used mine. And then we get the ribbons that match in. I'll show the papers because there's some beautiful papers. And we also get some dome stickers. So they have the stuff that coordinates really nicely. So papers, as we look here. Put that bit out of the way for a moment. Your papers come with decorations on them and double-sided. One of the things I really like is they actually have, see these black lines? Can you see the black lines on all of these elements? These I'll show you are your cutting lines to help you get a really nice border around everything. You get two of everything, right? And as you can see here, these have got the black lines around them in exactly the same way. So you've got, so you can either fussy cut all your elements up, or you've got the papers to use if you would like. So you've got all of those. You have some really nice journaling blanks that you can use. Beautiful papers, absolutely gorgeous papers, all double-sided, which is really nice. You have strips that have got border strips on for you, and again they're double-sided. You have papers that are, you can actually just cut out the sentiment if you wanted to. So you've got an awful lot to deal with, an awful lot to play with. Some beautiful papers, and they're gorgeous, absolutely. So, and the other thing about these papers is they are a nice thickness. They're about 250 GSM. So if you really wanted to, you could actually use one sheet, fold it in half, and use it as your card blank. You also get 2 pieces of white card in with your kit as well, with all your bits and pieces. So, like I said, it comes in this lovely wallet, which is really nice. So they're available there. Right, I'm just going to get my wallet out now with all my bits and pieces in it, so that we can start to make up the card. There we go. Now I've pre-cut some of them, but I'm actually going to explain how I do my cutting out as well, because a lot of people say I can't do that. Fussy cutting isn't for me. Don't like it. It's not easy. But actually having the lines around everything, as you can see, it's got a black line just round the outside edge of it, so you can just see where it is you want to cut. Right, so I'm just going to show you how I cut out. Okay, I always come in on an area where it's going to be fairly easier to start. Okay, and I am moving my scissors along for the moment. As soon as I get to somewhere where I'm going to have to turn it, I don't turn my scissors, I'm turning the paper. Okay, so I'm turning my paper, as you can see. I'm not turning the scissors. Scissors are tending to go in the same direction all the time, and I'm just turning my paper. So it's not particularly difficult. Having the white edge around everything with the black line makes everything so much easier, and you're less likely to cut off the bits and bobs that you want to keep for what you're doing. If your cutting out isn't perfect, it doesn't matter. Mine isn't. I miss bits off, I get a bit too tight in certain places. I am not a perfect fussy cutter, but having these lines makes life so easy. One of the other things that the paper packs do, which I think is really good, on the circle elements that they give you, they actually put what size punch it is that you need to cut around it, or die, which is, you know, it's up to you then, because I haven't got all lots of circle punches. I use my die set to do it, so that makes life a bit easier. As you can see, I'm moving my scissors more. I'm moving my paper more than my scissors. These particular scissors I'm using are Tim Holtz's ones. I like them because I have arthritis in some of my fingers, so I can get a good. I've got a nice wide handle to get my fingers through, and give it a nice easy grip, so I'm not arguing with my scissors. And these have a nice sharp bite to them. They've got a nice, they cut all the way to the point, which is very good when you're doing this sort of work. And you've got little bits and little areas you want to get into. So they're quite good. I am really chuffed with those. I know we do have them in the shop. I don't know if they're on the website, but if you call the shop, if they're not on the website, they will sort it out for you. So there we are. Right, so cut out. Now, it's not traditionally decoupage how you would expect it to be, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to work it out. I'm going to show you how I make my card up. There's my black cardstock blank, so I've got to now cut myself a piece of this to blend in with my cardstock. Now I know that that was half of A4, which makes that it's basically 5.5 inches around. So I'm going to do this at 5 1/4. So I've got enough then just to keep me a little bit sorted. So that's going to go there. Turn it again so it's just under the 5 1/4, and just trim off the excess. There we go. So that's that bit done. Now I'm using a different paper because I wanted to show you how it works. This one's quite a busy paper on that side, so when I went to come to lay this all down, I thought I'm going to lose this, even with my additional piece to help with me giving something. I'm still losing it too much, so I wanted it on the green side, so I'm putting it onto the green side. Okay, so there's my, I'm going to stick that down using my favourite glue again, which is the Pinflow Bookbinders glue. That's the one I really like. I love the nozzle because it's nice and thin, it doesn't put too much glue everywhere. I'm going to orientate it to the side because I want, rather than the ombre going up and down, I want it to go across. Okay, so rather than it being that way, I want it to be to the side. I've got myself a piece that I've cut out here, also from the cardstock. That's just to give me another piece to bring it all in. So there's my actual bit that's going to sit there. So I'm going to start building up my camera now. So I'm just going to get the bits that I've cut out for my camera. So here's my cut out pieces for my camera. I've got some flowery bits here as well that go with it. So here we go. So let's build this first, shall we? I'm going to be using these particular foam pads. They're the 2mm thick ones from Crafter's Companion. I quite like them. They seem to be nice and sticky. I don't seem to have to need too many to do what I want to do, so I'm not sort of using half the pack to get what I'm looking for. The only thing I'm not so fond of is getting the papers off isn't always easy, so I'd had to resort to using my poker tool to get all the papers off because I can't actually get my fingernails underneath, but that's fine. They want to be nice and sticky, so I'm going to just put this one there, so it's going to sit on top of that one, so that's sitting there quite nicely. Right, let's do this one now. Obviously if you're posting, you'll probably want to use thinner pads or just not decoupage it. It's you know, because we've got to get through that little bit on the, make sure we get it all covered. That's going to sit just there. Now I've got this here to put in, so I'm going to put this in as well, and it sits here. Okay, so I'm just going to sit that one in as well because I want it sort of a little bit over my camera, but not too much. If you don't want to decoupage these, or you can use each single element separately, you can put them all into your scrapbooking quite happily. I want that. That's that one. Oh, and I've got a flower bit to go on the top. And then I've just got the lens cover put on. So that will be my decoupage built then. sit there. Right, so inks. I'm just going to put a little bit of ink around this piece here. I'm using my Distress inks again, and this one is Forest Moss. It's been around a long while. So I'm just going to put a little bit around the edges on here. Forest Moss seems to be a good colour matching to what the colours in the actual paper pack, which works, and that which is quite good. So it's just having a look, see which ones work with what you've got. I'm trying to make sure that the little tiny details on this, the dye, it's the Riverside Crafts dye that I've used, and it's got a stitch detail going around the outside edge, which is quite nice. I don't know if you can see it up here. So look, oh, just yeah, there you go. And I wanted the inks to pick it out, which is one of the reasons why I'm going around the outside edge, because it'll give me that, it'll pick it out for me. Right, so I've done that bit. And I'm not going to go around the outside edge of my actual cardstock with ink, because it's quite nice as it is. So I'm just going to put this piece on here, off to one side slightly. Okay. Now I'm just going to position this where I want it, so it sits in the right place on my mat. And put some glue on the back. There we go. So that can sit just there, quite nicely. Right, now I've got some bits to put in and play with this. So I've got my border. Now I didn't want my border to go all the way across, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim it and poke it in places, because it's not necessarily that I want it everywhere. So I'm just going to take it in and under there, because I don't really want it everywhere. So that will hold me there. So that's that side done. Which means only a little bit on the other side, because it really isn't much there to put it in. So I'm just going to poke it under again and just push it in until it's in the right place for what I need. Bring it down a bit. If you're not, when you're doing this, if you're not sure if you've got it in the right place, lay a ruler across and it will help you just to line everything up, just in case you're struggling to do it by eye. Right, so that's got that on there. I've got my border on, the background pieces are all coming in. I've got these, you saw these on the actual paper pack when I was just showing you. They're all decorative elements that we can use. I'm just going to put this in here in a moment when I've got my paper pots back. Here we go. Just put me a couple on to lift it up. And that can sit sort of there, going across. It's quite nice to build these sort of things up. We're using all these different elements and bringing it in. I quite like the drip. This is another one of the elements there. This is punched out with the 1-inch punch, and I use my 1-inch die, which just gives you a nice little bit of rounded on the edge. So that's going to sit there. Okay, I've got another piece that I'm going to put in up here. Right. So all these little bits have just been trimmed out with either my scissors or with the fussy cutter, whichever way around. I was my paper trimmer, because I quite like to do things with my paper trimmer. There are lots and lots of different bits here as well, so you can use your dragonflies and put those in. I like to shape these a little bit if I'm putting these on, and I just put a little bit of glue on the back to hold them in place, and I can put them wherever I would like them to go. I'm just going to put one more in. One of the things about this sort of work is that actually once you've made it, once you've got everything cut out, it works really well. So what I'm tending to do is, when the paper pack comes and I've got everything I want in it, I'm taking my time, and I'm doing my fussy cutting on one of the sheets. I'm not fussy cutting both sheets out, so all my elements can go into a pot, a bag, and they're cut out ready for me to use. And when I come to build a card, it's quite quick because I've got all of my bits and bobs already pre-cut, so it takes away my stress of using it. So I can sit in front of TV of an evening, do my fussy cutting quite happily, and then go from there, which is it's a nice way of doing it. And it just they build up beautifully because you can use lots of the different elements from them, so they're not just for scrapbooking. They work really well playing with what you're doing and having a go again. So it's slightly different from the last one, but it's just having a bit of a play. You just put them side by side. So you use slightly different elements, and obviously once I've used an element, I don't have it again to use as such. So there were slightly different bits on this one. So this one I'd already used, obviously, and this is a die. Gosh knows how long that's been about. But here you go. See how I've built it all up again, doing exactly the same things as I did before. So it's all nicely built up. I've used a different pack here, different paper for that bit, but otherwise it's very similar. Same sort of border, and all you're going to do is then put it onto your card, ready to give to somebody. Makes a really nice card for a chap or for a lady. Doesn't matter. It's very much a unisex pack in how it works. You've got some quite nice manly colours in it that you can pick up, and you've got some beautiful flowers that you can use for other elements of it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and that you'll join me next week. Next week, if everything's right, is going to be a waterfall card using Disney, because that's what we've been advertising all week, is Disney, and it is beautiful. So I will see you next week. Hope you're all well.